Hey everyone, welcome to the Beyond All Cloud series. Amit, we have in the previous chapters we have talked about a lot of things from idea to discussion to uh, talent hiring, working culture, each and everything. So now, in this chapter 8, we're going to talk about work and working on what really is important. So let's start with how do we decide what is important. So once as an example or as a thought experiment, you come up with an idea, and now as an entrepreneur or as a person who came up with the idea, you're you are in a mindset that almost everything related to that is important, and you need to start working on everything at once. And in the heat of the moment, it feels like, or it seems like, okay, this is also very important. Let's say, for example, some marketing thing is also very important, this type of feature is also important. You will not be able to decide, okay, if we don't go live with this feature, our product will work or will not work, or people will accept or not accept. So let's discuss first, how do we decide that what is important and what we need to work on priority first.
Yeah, I think the outset, I used to be, an engineer. I still am at heart. Uh, so, as an engineer, you tend to, you know, want to build it all and kind of, get very excited about features and so on.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
but I think, I had to learn myself over the years that, technology is only in service of the business. Otherwise, there's no technology that can really,
Mm.
be sustainable, right? So
Yeah.
it's almost like you come to a point where you don't want to build anything first,
Mm.
right? You build zero,
Mm.
try to build nothing, right? Because you don't want to spend upfront before you can make a business happen, right? So you got to
Yeah.
really
Mm.
think about how you're going to, go about the business. And so
Mm.
from that perspective, we were already constrained. All of us, everybody is, but people tend to think in terms of product rather than markets. You know,
Yeah.
so
Mm.
we wanted to think in terms of market, and therefore you only need a story, a clear value prop,
Mm.
right? And you
Mm.
need basic functionality to demonstrate the key point that you're
Yeah.
talking about,
Mm.
right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's
Mm.
that it's in service of you, doing something particular, which is I got to
Mm.
show somebody something particular, not everything, but I got to show that
Yeah.
key thing, which is what
Mm.
I'm basing my entire thesis on, let's say, right? So the idea, whatever that you just
Yeah.
mentioned.
Yeah.
So you got to go
Mm.
straight to the heart of that idea and just
Mm.
build enough to demonstrate what you're talking about, you know?
Okay. Mm. Okay. Mm. That makes sense, that you build enough so that you're able to show the value proposition, or at least communicate the value proposition in a way that the other person understands it as clearly as you want the person to understand it.
Yeah. So that is
Mm.
the reason why it's not even
Mm.
20%, 80/20, it's really
Mm.
10% or 5% of, features that ultimately add the most value. People come to,
Mm. Mm.
certain products, for like one main thing, and
Yeah.
everything else,
Mm.
is a nice to have almost. I mean, very
Mm.
few should have in a product, you know, and I think we should just build the should haves to begin with.
Yeah.
And that's about it, I think, is how we went about it. Of course, we
Mm.
also went about it, and I'm sure most startups, everybody faces this, right? Limited resources, limited, constrained, available time and money. And so
Yeah, that's there.
you got to get forced by the market,
Mm.
so that's why market first. You got to be thinking and breathing the market, your customers. You should be
Mm.
your greatest customer. The reason why they say eat your own dog food is because you know yourself, right? If you're truly your own
Yeah.
customer, then there is no
Mm.
gap in understanding. If you're not
That's
your
true.
own customer, then you
Mm.
have to understand somebody else. and their indirect, see, experience is what is called knowledge. If you don't have knowledge, then if you don't have experience, you cannot say you have knowledge. Somebody who's read a textbook can't say that he's knowledgeable, although they will claim that. You wouldn't hire somebody who's just read a textbook on surgery to do a procedure on you, even if they've read everything. You would like somebody who's done it many times, right? So that experience is knowledge. Only experience is knowledge, right? So you can build a product that you want to use for the clear value that you perceive. You can build that because there's no gap in understanding there.
Yeah.
Right. Otherwise, there is a gap, and you're not building it for a real customer. You're copying. You're like, oh, I see your problem, and let me, unless it becomes your problem, it's always building somebody else's problem.
Somebody else's problem. Yeah.
You got to solve your own problems. And your own problems will show you the smallest thing to do to fix it. Because you know when it's fixed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because you know the exact problem, not what it looks like.
You know, and even the solution that you come up with, you will know instantly whether it worked or not, how small or however big it is.
Exactly. So this is the reason why they say eat your own dog food. And the answer is really, I think they shouldn't say that. I think what they should say is that, you should have a dog.
Be your own customer.
Have a dog, right? And then I guess you should make your own dog food for the dog because, or I think they're saying you should be the dog so that you can eat your own dog food and know whether it's good or not, which I think makes sense. So I think you should eat your own dog food. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. In this conversation, so there sometimes comes a situation that you're working on your 5% or your 10% core thing, which will give you the most value. And there comes a client or there comes a customer who sort of asks for more or deviate or what the customer is asking you is a deviation from your own plan. So when it comes to work, how do you deal with such situations?
That is a standard, product management, prioritization thing. You have all the right conversations. You can, park ideas. The ideas are unlimited, so you got to have a way to capture them and go through them. So, so I think that's what you do. I think you just have to, that's the reason. Again, if you're eating your own dog food, you'd know exactly what needs to happen, right? So then of course it's a question of communicating that to the team, which is why you have a process and all that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got to work closely as a team, right? Like I think people work well in small groups, not very large groups, but small groups of people work really well together. So I think we need to emulate that. We need to create small teams that work together, and then you have a team of teams that coordinates things.
Coordinates everything. Yeah.
So I think that's kind of the approach that every small part of your organization should, follow in almost like a fractal way, right? If everyone's doing this, then you have an intelligent organism.
Yeah, exactly. Amazing. Thanks, Amit. Thanks so much for such an awesome conversation. And I think we'll keep on doing these chapters and these series. This is getting more and more interesting day by day or chapter by chapter.
Thank you. Thanks.